Alrighty. We all ready? We'll get up the back. Yep. Excellent. Geoff, welcome back to the Australian PGA Championship. It's the first time you'll be playing here at RACV Royal Pines on the Gold Coast. It's great to have you back.
Yeah, it's great. Used to love Coolum, obviously. Played it every year, I think, for quite a long time. And for whatever reason, I mean, there's no real good excuses, but when you're playing 25 weeks a year in America, it's just difficult to keep adding on weeks at the end of the year, especially when my family was living there and I wanted to get home, so it's kind of missed out the last few years, just really on the date factor. But I'm glad I'm back. It's always been a good event up here. It's such a, regardless of where you have it, it's the guys that I've grown up with who've played in Europe all year, they've played in Japan all year, or Asia, or America, or Canada, or Latin America, and everybody is here, of our peers, basically, the Australian golfers, except for a few, I think, who might have ducked over the web finals, I think. But that's just cool. There's just something about that, and I kind of missed that the last few years. So excited to be back, and it's one of Australia's most historic tournaments, so if I could get on it again, I'd be pretty happy. So.
Yeah. And you're moving the family back to Australia this year, so 2019 is going to be looking a bit different for you?
Yeah, it's been pretty exciting. That's kind of why I haven't really played the last sort of 4 or 5 months. I've been taking stock of kind of where we're at and keeping all the balls in the air when you're moving in international countries is quite a complicated manoeuvre, especially after 20 years. So getting that organised, going to be back in January and base out of Australia for the next, hopefully forever maybe, and bounce around the world a little bit more and play some more interesting places and still play a little bit in America, but maybe get deeper into the architecture side of things and maybe ask a few questions in the media one day or something like that. So I feel like the golf world is my oyster a little bit, and I kind of wanted that second half of the golf life career to be based in Australia because I've lived there a long time and I'm kind of ready to come home.
And you started your career on the European Tour, and I know that this event being co-sanctioned by the European Tour was a big motivator for also playing and potentially some at the start of next year as well.
Well, 100%. I mean, there's nothing set in stone with us, obviously, but plans to play Vic Open for sure, maybe New Zealand, Perth maybe, play a little bit more here, maybe I made sure I paid my affiliate membership in Europe, so it works if I make some money, and I've got some past champions status in Europe, believe it or not, because of World Golf Championships and the US Open and stuff, so I think I can get into some smaller ones anyway, so I could probably scrape together a reasonable European schedule if I can put a bit of money together here, so that might be an option too. So that European co-sanction is huge for Australians. It's really, really big, especially the young guys. And it's really important, and it's definitely maybe the best carrot we have, I think, to get guys just kind of in the middle of do I come, do I not? Well, it's Europe, so I better go. So it's an important thing, I think, for us.
Jimmy.
You made some headlines with the story we had in our mag about the Aussie Open. How's the reception been since you've been back home?
Mostly positive, really, I have to say. I mean, I'm sure some people got a bit annoyed about it, but the timing was interesting. I thought it came off quite nicely. I know Golf Australia magazine liked the article. Just observations. I mean, it's just you just want the Australian Open to be the premium thing. You know, all due respect to the Australian PGA, it's the same in the US. The majors are the majors, right? And the US Open is still the US Open, regardless if the USGA's only tournament. It's still a big tournament. So you kind of want the Australian Open to be that. And the bigger the Australian Open gets, the bigger the PGA gets, and the bigger the Vic Open gets, and the bigger all that gets. So just, I don't know, create a little bit of conversation, I guess. Conversation is where good stuff happens. So.
And then, obviously, there was a bit of a mix-up with dates, with playing the tournament yourself, but then going to Disneyland and everything like that. How was that to tie up the end of America, and how hard was it to miss the Aussie Open?
It was horrific. It was brutal, right? But the Australian Open's been Thanksgiving week in America for I don't know how long, for as long as I've been playing it at least. And I think longer, because I feel like Greg used to use that excuse every now and then, right? The Thanksgiving one. But anyway, it's been a long time. And so it was on the internet, it was originally posted, this is the original date, this is happening, so I'm like, perfect, we can do this Disney end of America trip almost for my kids. They all got to the right age and it was just perfect. We'll lock that in, that's perfect. There's nothing on that week that I'm going to play, perfect, and I'll fly to Australia and I'll be good. And then they change, and I'm not about to tell my kids they can't go to Disneyland. Like, anyone who's ready to do that, congratulations, but I'm not going to do it. So couldn't adjust at the end, and that was the way it was, and we had an unbelievable week. It was incredible. It was one of those dreamy family weeks, and it opened up my eyes to there's more tournaments to come play, and it opened up like the option for here, because I got to get back there to organise to get the trip back, but I really wanted to play here, so I put this in here. So things maybe happen for a reason sometimes. So here we are.
Jim.
Geoff, any particular adventures the Kirkwood Cup made after you won it up at Coolum?
I can't remember. I know we drank a lot out of it, but that was kind of every year at Coolum anyway. We'd be drinking quite a lot on Sunday night. You know, it's sitting at home. It's one of those trophies. That one and the Australian Open trophy, they've always sat in the house in Australia. Right? And I never see them because I'm never in Australia, right? And don't really have them in a place of prominence, so I'll put them together with the ones I'll bring back from America and put them in a place of prominence. But I don't think I'm sure it was just beer and wine, and bourbon and Coke sometimes ends up in those things too. If Kim was involved, maybe. We had a bit of fun, I think. Can't remember. There's so many good nights at Coolum at the end there that I can't really remember any of them, really.
So the Kirkwood Cup, is it like a doorstop, or is it on the mantelpiece?
No, it's in my office, but it's just, I don't really have a setup because we've got a house that's just really a stopping point for us at the moment, right? Because we're not really here that much, so it's not really in a place of prominence, but as I said, it will be. That one and the Stonehaven, place of prominence.
You talk about your next phase. I mean, you're out on the course with Zach Murray, one of the really good young amateurs just turned pros. Is that part of the thing that you enjoy doing, passing on a little bit of knowledge, or just having a chat to someone who's quite engaging and willing to give something to you as well?
I think so. I mean, Greg was always really good at that. I remember he came back, he'd always play with the amateurs and stuff in the Tuesdays in the Australian Open, so it was a Wednesday back then, but the practice rounds, and it's just a nice thing. And I played a few of those practice rounds a few times, not with Greg particularly, but some just players who had played overseas and had decent careers, and you just can't help but enjoy it and get something out of it, even if you don't farm them for information. You just observe and you see how they go about it, how they prepare, and the professionalism with the caddy and stuff that we all take for granted because it's just kind of our habits and stuff that we do, but these guys haven't seen it all. So I like playing with the young guys. They're usually the enthusiastic, good attitude guys. They're excited to be here. You know, the 15 years in, grizzled veteran in the last week in November might not be quite as positive and happy, you know, so the young guys are right up for it. This is their thing, so I enjoyed it. He's a great player. His ball's still going up and mine stops when he catches a driver, which is more common now. I guess he won in West Australia a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yep.
So you can win against the pros, you can win anywhere. So good future, I think. Just turned pro? Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
Paul.
Geoff, apart from a whole bunch of 3-irons in that weather on Friday at Little Frankston, how much golf have you been playing since the Barracuda?
Yeah, it's the longest I've been my whole life and not playing a tournament. I was so over it. I mean, I made -3 points the last 2 holes, I think, to miss at Reno. And I just can't open the club glove for a few weeks. It's ridiculous. And I'm going to open it when I'm ready, and I haven't really got ready. But I played quite a bit when I first got home because that's my habit, is to wake up in the morning, kids go to school, I go to the golf course. That's just what I do. But gradually got used to not doing that for a little bit, which was kind of nice. I haven't played with a scorecard in my pocket since August. But I've hit plenty of balls, and I've played enough rounds of golf. And the short game was actually kind of sharp this morning. I mean, Tuesdays aren't Thursdays, and it's a different sport on Thursday. But I felt worse after 4 weeks in a row than I do right now about the golf. So we'll see. I've never come off this much of a break, but it feels pretty good, so I guess we'll see.
And just to add on, you're a bit excited about being back in that tournament scene that you talked about.
I am. I was kind of, I don't know, I just didn't really miss it, but the last kind of week, and I kind of put my head in the World Cup on Sunday because of the thing, and stood in the first team, watched Cam and Leash go down the first. It's like, well, it's kind of a bit better doing that than watching, right? So time away has been really good, but yeah, this would be the most enthusiastic I've been in a golf tournament on a Tuesday for a while. So vacations are good for you, I guess.
Brent.
Hey, Geoff, just enlighten us again. How long since you've actually lived in Australia? Or full-time?
Well, full-time?
Yeah.
1997.
1997.
1998 maybe. 1998 mostly, but I was probably out of Australia for 6 months in 98, so
Yeah.
long time, 20 years.
And we spoke to Rob at the Australian Open about you and him
Yes.
potentially starting a tournament in Gerard's honour. Can we get your views on that and how realistic you see that?
Well, I think it would be very appropriate that There might be room to create a new tournament in Australia. The tournament in the Masters is gone. There might be space. I mean, obviously the PGA and there's a whole lot of balls in the air and stuff that get organised, but hypothetically or theoretically, it seems like a really cool idea to have a Jared Lyle tournament, whether it be a big tournament, small tournament, but honest Jared every year. It's a non-profit tournament that raises money for wherever the Lyle family wants it to go, probably Challenge, I would expect. And I think you could create a feeling that might get quite a lot of enthusiasm behind the tournament, and I think you'd get a lot of players come into play because everybody liked Jared, right? And he got such a bad deal. So, and it would be appropriate because he was a great golfer, he was Melbourne, and it would raise money for Challenge. And I think around that sort of framework, it's obviously a million different boxes you've got to tick to get it to work. But Robert and I really loved the idea instantly. So we'll see. These things are not like easy to get organised, but don't you think? I think conceptually it's a really cool idea, and it would be amazing if we could create kind of a legacy tournament for Jared, which would do a lot of good, and it would actually help. The ulterior motive is maybe we get a great tournament in Melbourne again or something like that. So yeah, we talked about the idea and we both loved it.
Jimmy?
In that same vein, with being at home, is administration in golf something that could be in your future? Getting involved with the PGA or Golf Australia, because your ideas are always well received. Is it something you're open to?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's the playing side and there's the business side. I understand what makes golf tournaments work and everything about that from my viewpoint. From driving in the car park to walking in the locker room to hitting balls to the golf course setups to all that stuff, I completely understand that up and down. What the good tournaments in the world do and what the bad tournaments in the world do and what makes tournament work and not work. All that, I mean, there's a million little things, I know that well. But the paper side of the trail, I have absolutely no clue, right, at all. I mean, I've got a sense, but I've got no real clue. I know it's miraculous sometimes to pull off golf tournaments in Australia with economic conditions, right? So I get that. So administration, if you would like, I don't like that word, but from the golf side, I think I would have a bit to offer, but from the other side, I don't know. It's not my world. But yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Murray?
Yeah, Geoff, just touching, excuse me, on that, on your article you wrote and also on the Lyle tournament, have you thought more closely about when, scheduling-wise, that would all line up better? I know next year they've rearranged the order of these three tournaments. Is there a window there that it works better to get more?
I think, again, the world is very complicated. I always liked our tournaments in January and February. I think we should use the Australian Open tennis, as half of the sports world is coming down to watch it anyway. They're all looking at Melbourne. We have better weather, for that part of the country at least. Potentially go that side of summer. We get stuck in with President's Cups and World Cups, and the PGA Tour kind of bullies us around and kind of puts us where we need to be for them, which is great because we get the President's Cup, which brings a lot of money into Australia, and we get the World Cup last week, which doesn't really make Australian golfers money, but it helps Australian golf. So the late in the year stuff's getting more and more difficult, and as we saw last week, the weather is just potential carnage. Sydney was not great, from what I understand. Last week was ridiculous. I mean, it was like July in Melbourne last week. But again, I mean, I don't know. My ideal thing is when we played in February with the Masters and that run we used to have, it was brilliant, it was great.
And just changing topic, Cam Smith, defending champion, the fresh-faced young fella from Queensland, how good is he in your eyes, and where's he at the moment?
He's really good. He's got the respect of the whole locker room in the US, and that's hard to get. He's, to this point, got every single time you see him play, he's playing a little bit better than the last time. Not many, you can't say that about many guys. He's improving at a really nice rate. He's easily one of the top 40 or 50 guys over there, guys that people notice really quick. And top 40 or 50, I mean, that's really, really good. And he could be a year away from being a top 10 guy there. He's on that sort of level. Like, he's a really good player, really professional, and always in a good mood, and fun to be around, a good smart ass, like good with a chirp, like good player. Yeah, really good player. Maybe the best player in the field. I don't know if I'm forgetting anybody, but Leash, obviously. Yeah, he's quality. Australians need to watch Cam Smith.
Jimmy?
And back on this week, what do you think of Royal Pines so far?
Well, I played 16 holes. You know, look, it's a good venue for a tournament. Everybody knows it's not in the top 50 in the world, Royal Pines, but it hosts the tournament well, and it's great for RACV. And if people enjoy playing here, that's great. And it's a big enough course for us to host pros. There's not a lot of them around anymore. Coolum was getting too small for how far we hit it. This is big enough. It's in good shape. Good players have won here, you know, and that's all you can ask. Good shape, good players win there, and it's a good environment, a good week. So for a tournament like this, it's perfect. And the last tournament of the year, as I said, the calendar year, being up in Queensland is so appropriate and perfect. It just works really well. From a player's perspective, it worked great.
Hey, Geoff, just back on Cam, what does he have to do to become a top 10 player?
Oh, I average half a shot less for the round, I guess, or whatever the number would be. But, I mean, where does he find that? He hits it far enough, but he's never going to hit it as far as those big guys. He's just not that guy. But he hits it far enough. He hits it further than me. He hits it over 300 yards, which is plenty far enough. Make more plays. There's no one thing. It's just get a little bit better. I mean, Jordan Spieth doesn't do anything better than Cam Smith, except that he holds more putts at the right time and maybe just gets that right up and down at the right time. And that's not something you go to the range or something in practice. That's just experience of playing. And some are quicker at learning that, like Jordan obviously learned it really young, and Cam's really getting there. But physically, he's got it sussed. He seems like he really knows what he's doing with his golf swing, and it seems to get better all the time. His short game's sound, and he doesn't get nervous. Like, he really is impressive in the last 9 holes and hangs in there. And that's the sign that you see with him that I think he just needs to get in those positions a few more times. He'll be more comfortable, and that'll get him to the top 10 in the world, top 20 in the world.
You mentioned his demeanour. Like, he just seems unflappable. Like, is that the most impressive thing about him? Just this...
Being unflappable is very difficult. You either are or you're not, right? I mean, we're either the guy who yells at the car who hits the brakes in front of us, or we're like, oh, he slowed down, I'll slow down. We're one or the other. And if you're a guy who flips, then you're just the guy who flips. And golf is a game that'll flip you out. Yeah. So it's impressive for someone like me, who it's always driven me nuts, for Cam. He can get mad, but he gets mad in he just gets short-term mad, and then it's over. That's impressive, and that's one of those attributes that'll keep him there a long time, because doesn't seem to be rolling the emotional roller coaster like a lot of us. Like, best golfer in the world for 2 holes, worst, best, worst, best, worst. He's just like, oh, I'm just going along. So, as I said, you're either that way or you're not, and fortunately he's that way, and he's mentally really sound. Seems like it.
Jim.
Geoff, is there any courses in Australia that you're having a hand in at the moment, or have your eyes on?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're just finishing up Peninsula, Kingswood, which has been incredible. I mean, to be fair, that's basically Michael Cocking, and that's amazing. We're about to do Point Lonsdale, down around Ocean Grove, or just around Nilla Heads. Kind of bought a little bit of land, sold a little bit of land, and like redoing that course. Got a new course in Beijing. That's not in Australia, obviously, and we've got one in Texas at the moment. And a few little odds and buds around. We're busy for a few years. So it's going really nicely. We don't take on too much at a time. So it's going really nicely, the business at the moment. So Point Lonsdale in Melbourne, Peninsula's finishing, and I'm sure I'm forgetting one or two, but there's some projects in the pipeline. I mean, these things, there's a lot of boxes that need to get ticked and things that need to happen all in order for these things to get executed. So it's going well. It's going really well.
Just a question on Disneyland. What do you do, Space Mountain, or were you doing all the crazy stuff that the kids did? Or
you know, I'm not bad. I'll do it if they want to do it. Space Mountain's a cool ride. I've done it before. They're great. I don't know how many of you. These rides now are just ridiculous. They're like visualizations, or like you're in this thing and it's like the Harry Potter ride, like you're riding the broom thing, like you're playing that game they play. And you're seriously, like, you're not moving. You're kind of in this chair that's just going up and down, but the screen makes you feel like you're playing that game and the thing, and like you freak out and your stomach goes, and like they're like virtual roller coasters. All the rides now, I don't know if anyone's seen them. I mean, they're 30 years advanced from what Space Mountain started. Like those, it's not really a roller coaster anymore. It's like a video game, but you're riding in it. Some of them are freakish. Like, I can't do the spinning ones. I get sick if we spin. Spinning is no good. But the fast ones are good.
All right, did we have any more questions after Disneyland?
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll leave it there, and we hope you have as much fun this week as you did with the family in
Thank you.
Disneyland.
Cool.
Thanks very
Thank you.
much.
No worries.